Musgrave stayed on his feet.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. Looks like we got Jacob ready to hop in here. We'll give him time to get in here and get settled in. But Tim, how was your day, sir?
Great. Did a little running some errands, enjoying the last little bit of nice weather we're getting for we're in full-on fall mode. Right. Still a little bit of 80s up here in Green Bay during the day, so had to get out there and enjoy it.
I hear that, man. It's we're expecting a little heat wave, and then next week we're supposed to get that actual fall weather, so we'll get down in the 40s at night and all that good stuff. So what's up, Jacob? How was your day, sir?
It was good. Some would say it was a great day. I spent way too much time actually talking to Tim on the phone today.
Yeah.
Nice.
we
what does that mean? That means you don't want to talk to me on the phone anymore?
No, it's just it realized we're like two old men that meet each other at the fence, and all of a sudden it's like it's been an hour and we have talked about basically.
Yeah, it's like you're right. Time flies when you're having fun, brother.
I do have to actually make a shout out. The reason I was a little bit late, my best friend of all time, Tony, his son, he's a single dad. His son turns 10 today, and he is bringing Mason Anthony, you little pooper. He has got 7 of his best friends. Tony rented him a hotel. He's going to be staying next to him, letting him party and play a video game. So shout out to those boys. It's pure anarchy. I don't know how the hell people raise children, let alone 10-year-old boys.
That's dad of the year material right there, right? I mean, if you're 10 years old, what else could you possibly want other than to play video games all night and eat junk food all night and not have to worry about it?
They sent me a list. They sent me a list of all the food they wanted, so I went and bought that for them times like 2. They walked in and they were like, "Yeah!" I was like, "All right."
I love it.
They're all sugared up.
Look here in the chat too. I can't pull it up on the screen, guys, because it's not compatible with StreamYard. But I see everybody found the PTA Posse Shield emoji, so that's really cool. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you're seeing people post the emoji. So we're going to try to upgrade that too. What I'd like to do is get pictures of everybody's faces, kind of like the McAfee show does, like a picture of Jake, a picture of Tim. You guys can just post that up there. Bang, quick emoji. I thought that'd be cool. So we'll see. We'll get cheesy with it. We'll see how cheesy we can get with it. But first things first, though, let's give a shout out tonight to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live, Wisconsin-based since 1992, specializing in Packers tickets, Wisconsin's largest ticket source. Got offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Just click on the link in the video description. It'll send you to theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. So first things first, let's talk injury report, guys. We got the final report here. To me, it was all good news. Really excited about how this shook out here. First things first, everybody basically doesn't have a game status other than 3 people, which essentially means everyone should be good to go other than these 3, okay? And here are the 3. Jordan Morgan, and we did get confirmation it was the same shoulder that he hurt in training camp, so that's something that obviously they're not expecting to be out for 4 weeks, but it's something that's definitely lingering. He is ruled out Sunday against the Titans, okay? Carrington Valentine with the ankle injury did not participate all week. He is doubtful, all right? And then, of course, the big news, Jordan Love, limited participation all week long. He is listed as questionable. And just to kind of reaffirm what those injury statuses mean on a technical basis, doubtful means 75% chance you will not play, all right? Questionable means it's a 50-50 shot. So this is obviously Jordan was questionable last week as well. This really doesn't catch me by any surprise. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I figured it would be a game time decision. That way, even if you're at this point in the week and you think, okay, Jordan's not going to go, I would still list it as questionable and say it's a game time decision. And by game time, meaning 90 minutes before, go ahead and roll with it. Right now, I haven't heard whether or not Sean Clifford has been elevated yet. Now, that can happen all the way up till kickoff. Last week, it happened fairly soon, if you guys will remember. Tim, Jacob, you guys heard anything about Sean Clifford up to this point?
No, I haven't. And I would assume that this would be even more last minute this time around, right? Because we know Jordan's had progress. He practiced all week. It was limited, but he practiced. That didn't happen last week. So I would assume if we're going to get a Sean Clifford activation as a backup, that's going to come pretty much under the gun here last minute. I would think Jordan Love being listed as questionable, we all know what that means. It could go either way at this point. You see Carrington Valentine doubtful. Obviously, he's not going to play. There's a overwhelming possibility he's not going to play. So, it's good. This is better than what we saw last week as far as the injury report goes. Most of these guys will be playing. And, QB1 is the most important name on this list here. And I don't know. I think there's still a chance he plays Sunday.
Yeah, completely agree, man. Jacob, anything you want to hit on the Packers side here of the injury report?
I guess just is there a timeline? What is the last kind of minute where they can say, hey, we're elevating Clifford and Love's not going to play? Is it that morning, like by 10 a.m. or something around those lines? Is that
90 minutes prior to kickoff?
90,
or something?
I think
is that about it? Okay.
Yeah. So he could be holding out on that, right? And for some that are going, why would you do that? The reason you would do that is if the longer you wait to elevate him, that gives the Titans, hey, Jordan's probably playing. We got to prepare for Jordan Love to play, right? And then 90 minutes before, bang, you elevate Sean Clifford and Malik Willis as the starter. Now you've limited the amount of preparation you could specifically do on each quarterback throughout the week, right? I personally think Jordan Love's going to play. That's just my feeling. I could be completely wrong. You guys know I've been leaning that way ever since they said he was close last week, right? So I think there's a good chance he's gonna be playing there on Sunday. Here was a tweet that came out from Matt Schneidman, and he quote tweeted himself from earlier. It says Jordan Love is questionable for Sunday's game. Has he been medically cleared? LaFleur said, quote, we're working through that. So he quote tweeted that, he being Matt Schneidman, and said, when asked if Love had been medically cleared, LaFleur nodded, then said they're working through it. Asked if the nod meant yes, LaFleur again said they're working through it. So I think all signs are pointing to he's going to be playing. That's just me. So we had a little bit of practice footage here that came out from Matt Schneidman too, and you see Jordan at practice. The tweet says Jordan Love appears to be practicing for the third straight day. We're only allowed to watch indoor warm-ups on Fridays and not outdoor individual drills, but Love did everything inside and went outside with the team before we left. Packers fly to Nashville tomorrow. So I think yesterday when the team went outside, or maybe it was the first day of practice that he was limited, when the team went outside, he didn't go outside immediately. So it was pretty obvious, according to Matt Schneidman, that he actually went out with the team. So probably a good sign that he did go through team drills. So
yeah, and I was thinking. Oh, go ahead, Clay. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you see testing the knee here. He looks pretty good to me. But.
Yeah, putting the weight on it, one leg at a time like that, he looks like he's moving pretty well. Of course,
Tim, did you see the Pat McAfee show today when they were going in live on this? Who's the resident Packer fan that they got there?
Ty Schmidt.
Ty? Okay. So, yeah, they went to him, and then they actually showed this exact clip here by Schneidman, and they were like, look at the way he's doing not only that side to side, but the 1 foot at a time skipping. He said that's really important. AJ Hawk reiterated, he goes, they wouldn't be letting him do that if they didn't actually think he was going to play because of that side to side. The MCL is when you have to really worry about that kind of mobility. And right there, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it right there real clear. He doesn't seem to be favoring anything right there. He is going back and forth. He's doing 1 knee skips at a time. He's jumping back and forth like a kangaroo style. He looks like an Australian breakdancer, to be honest.
Tim,
they're not throwing any 300-pound linemen at him though right now. So
that's fair. That's fair.
That skip right there, though, that looks like me when I stuck my toe on the fridge. I've had too many Tito's.
Can I just take a minute to appreciate us dissecting pre-practice indoor warm-ups like it's the Zapruder film? This is just this is phenomenal. The thing I wanted to say is Jordan playing or not, we're not going to know until the last minute. Let's say they know right now. They could know right now that he's good to go. They're not going to tell anybody right away. You're not in a hurry to release that information publicly into your opponent. So, I think whether he plays or he doesn't, we'll get that pretty close to as close to kickoff as they can get away with, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Ron Sample says, I'm with Clayton. Jordan's going to play in my mind. There you go. Greg Rice says 65% chance that there's a 95% chance he plays, actually. So I know that is definitely approved by the great Mark Murphy.
65%.
65%. That's what we. So there you go.
That clip will never die. It just will never go.
It better not. I won't let it. This show will go to 0 viewers before I let that die. So even then, we'll probably still do it. There just won't be anybody to see it. So there is your Jordan Love update of the day. Let me see if I had any other screen grabs to hit on here. There was something else. We already hit the Love medical. Oh, let's get back to the injury report real quick. So obviously those are the only 3 Packers that I'm concerned about. The way I'm understanding the practice or the injury report here is everyone else will be playing unless something crazy happens, in the next 24 hours. Tennessee Titans, they only got 4 on their injury list. It was Morgan Cox. Of course, it's a Cox, right? So full participation. As he had an ankle injury that wasn't listed. It must have just popped up on Friday, but he was full participation. Arguably their best defensive player in Jeffrey Simmons had NIR rest, was obviously just veteran rest. He's good to go. L'Jarius Sneed, their great press corner, he's good to go. And Tajay Spears, the backup running back with the ankle injury, did not participate, then was limited on Thursday, full participation on Friday, and his official status is the same as Jordan's, as questionable. So that could be a game time decision there. So that is the injury report. Really, when you think about it, both teams fairly healthy, when you really take all things into consideration. If Jordan plays, you're already kind of rotating in and out at right guard, so it's not like Jordan Morgan's a starter. And then, of course, Carrington Valentine was rotating with Eric Stokes. I don't think anybody would see Carrington as over Eric Stokes on the depth chart. So it sucks not having that extra depth there with Carrington if something were to happen on the boundary. But as it sits right now, he's listed as doubtful, which, like we said, 75% chance that he will not play. So
can I ask a question real quick? Do you think that if, like we just said, if Carrington's not going to play, and we saw that kind of odd split with him and Stokes, if for whatever reason this week we see a split where, say, Ballantyne has equal splits with Stokes, are we supposed to read into that at all? That they don't trust Stokes? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense at all? Or because they played it off right away with like, hey, Carrington's that good, or like there's just matchups for that kind of way.
As fans, that's what we've been screaming for. You guys remember the last few years? It's like, why do we not let these guys compete? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to pick on him, but Josh Myers is one. It's like, so we're just going to say, nope, he's the center and not try to, open up the competition. So I know players and former players especially that I've heard talk about, the rotation in game. They really hate it, especially at the offensive line position or, offensive line group, I should say. But, yeah, to answer your question there, Jacob, the way I see that with Carrington, if you do a rotation with Ballantyne and Stokes now, I think it's more about Stokes than it was about Carrington. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But what's crazy is, like, we've talked about Stokes. Felt like that's the best he's looked in a long time earlier in the year. So that's what was so odd about it, We'll see, though. One more thing here. Josh Jacobs did have this quote from Matt Schneidman. Josh Jacobs was asked today how Jordan Love looked in practice this week. He said, quote, he's looked all right. He's been limited, but he looks all right, said with a smile. He said, I think they asked him, was there a team meeting about everyone saying limited? Jacobs responded and said, I don't know nothing about nothing. So, and he did laugh. It was a good interview if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But since we're talking about Josh Jacobs, let's jump into this. And we're going to do a very, very deep, extensive preview tonight. That's going to be the goal. We're just getting through a couple of things that happen on the surface. Anytime you get any kind of storyline going into a game, I absolutely love it. This is Jeffrey Simmons. This is their best defensive lineman.
Ooh, this made me mad, dude.
Jeffrey Simmons on Josh Jacobs, quote, nobody runs the ball on the Tennessee Titans. That's what he said. All right. Now, Matt Schneidman had tweeted out, Josh Jacobs responded and said, me personally, I heard the comment. A lot of people sent it to me. I don't really feel no type of way about it. If I was on defense, I'd be saying the same thing. Running the ball or offensively, I feel like Can't no defense stop us. So I would say the same thing. Obviously, they got a good defensive front. The back guys have played a lot of football. They're a physical team. So we're going to see. I love that response. No, man, I'd respond the same way, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out.
Run the freaking ball right at them all.
Have you seen this clip, Tim? Have you seen this before?
No, I haven't. But
that makes me upset.
I get it.
All right, let's go.
This is like trash talk before a fight, right? Two boxers or before a weigh-in, getting a little last chirping. Yeah. So
never understood it. My dad taught me.
It's posturing. They're nervous about playing this Packers team. I can tell you that right now.
My dad taught me, keep your mouth shut and you throw the first sucker punch. That's what he always taught me. Here we go.
I mean, he liked to get the ball to the edges a lot, but I mean, what they had 70 plays on offense and 50 was run last game, and 32 was his carry. So I feel like they were protecting their offense. They try to protect the ball. They try to protect Malik last game. They ran the ball, like I said, 50 times in that game. So, and that was Malik as well. So at the end of the day, since I've been here in Tennessee, and I've been preaching this message since I've been here, since, you know, that's kind of what got brought to my attention. No one run the ball on the Tennessee Titans defense. So I think our mindset is, and one of our defensive goals this week is to stop the run. So no matter who have the ball in their hand, we have to swarm to the ball, make sure everybody gets to the ball, and quite frankly, we need to get the ball off them. So
let's go. He just said off the edges. You see that?
Yeah.
Let's go inside zone. Come on, Maddie. Let's go. A gap all day. Let's go right up the gut.
Absolutely. Jake, if you got anything to add to that before we move on, sir, anything at all?
No, only, you know, I have no qualms with the way that Matt's run the offense. Obviously, he's one of the best skilled, I would say, schemers that maybe we've seen in modern history, the way that he's able to adapt there. I wish, though, that we just had like a Lorenzo Neal, John Kuhn, freaking Mike Allstott style type fullback that we could just literally beat them down the face with. I just wish we had that type of player. I don't see that happening in this game. You know, Josh Jacobs, for pretty much by himself, you know, without a lead fullback, is kind of as smash mouth as you get nowadays in this league. So I hope his response is basically what Omer says here. You see Jacobs' response in that video, Clayton? He said, "You don't think anyone can stop us?" Well, okay, we'll see. We'll see.
And here's the thing, too. Typically what happens in a game like this, where we're talking about, oh, there's a matchup, we're trying to run the ball and this and that, something like this happens. Yeah, you have somebody like Jaden Reed just absolutely blow up, right? So PFF tweeted this out, big play machines. So the most 20-plus yard gains this season, there's only two players that have had more or the most 20-plus yard gains, and they're tied for that title. Malik Neighbors with 5 and Jaden Reed with 5. So Jaden Reed is just an absolute explosive machine. And that's what wins you ball games. That's what puts points on the board of those explosive plays. I could see this being a Jaden Reed game. I could. And, you know, when you got L'Jarius Sneed and he's really good at bump and run, playing that press coverage, that's great and all. But throw Watson out there and let him bump him all day long, right? And then you run a little slot cross off of it. Run a little slot cross or a little dagger, and you could throw him into the slot, try to get L'Jarius Sneed's attention, and then let's just work our boys underneath. And then when they try to go double up on someone or try to bracket cover one side of the field, especially when we're in a trips or a bunch set, and they try to throw that little Mabel look, then go to the backside to the boundary X to Romeo Dobbs and give your boy a shot at a couple jump balls. If Jordan plays in this game, I think Tennessee has really got a rude awakening coming. Their defense has been good up to this point, but guys, it's early in the season. You basically have to throw week 1 out the window. And typically what happens in week 2, week 3, you kind of revert back to what you've seen in week 1. That's a lot of times what will happen early in the season. You know, preparation will overshadow everything, obviously. But I say you go out there. If Jordan's in this game, I say you go out there and play action there, but since they're looking for the run, and just cut them up through the freaking air too. I would see this game playing that way. You know, here's the other thing. Last week, the heat was an issue, 86 degrees in Green Bay. We had offensive linemen throwing up like Jacob on Sunday morning, right? That This week, I could see it being like, okay, you take a little bit of stress off the run game if Jordan's playing, and what happens? Your hog mollies up front stay a lot fresher, right? I'm sure there's people out there that don't understand, like, why did they get so overexerted running the ball? Guys, when you're running the ball, and offensive linemen love run blocking way more than pass blocking. Pass blocking, this is how Bulaga described it. You're basically, all right, I'm going to get hit in the mouth, and I've got to absorb it. That's how that works. When you're calling running plays, that's the offensive line's opportunity to punish the defensive line, right? So last week it was just, pushing Mack trucks all day long. That's why they were overexerted. You come back this week, go with some play action off of that. I think that the offensive line will stay a little fresher. I'm not saying that we should get completely away from the run, but if Jordan Love plays, the play action is primed up right now because it's obvious everybody's talking about the running game. Tennessee's going to be looking for it, no doubt. Now,
I would think we could even do a similar version of that, even if Malik Willis is our starter. I think we could pepper in a little bit more. We talked about, Matt maybe opening up the playbook a little more now if he's going to start a second time in a row. We liked what we saw last week. Maybe he does. Maybe we go heavy run, but we also mix in that play action boot.
Yep, definitely. I can see it too, man. So Jaden Reed obviously off to a good start in this early season here. So let's do this. Let's jump into some of the game preview. I'm really excited about this. We've been wanting to talk about it for a few days now. I'm going to try to get these screens to where everything looks close enough that you guys can actually read it. This first one is from NFL Pro, which is just an excellent website. Everybody has been diving into this. So really, really cool tool for anyone who does a podcast or anything in between. So here's how it sits right now. Actually, let me see if I can refresh it without losing our page here.
Yeah, here we go.
Make sure that we get the updated lines and everything. All right, so Green Bay Packers at the Tennessee Titans. All right, and again, this is on NFL Pro. Points per game, the Packers are 11th in the league at 22.5 points per game. The Titans are 19th at 17 points per game. Point differential, the Packers are sitting 13th in the league at a +1. The Titans are 20th at -14. Record in close games, albeit we've only played 2 games. Record in both of those games for both teams were close games, right? So the Packers are 1-1. Obviously, the Titans are 0-2. Average margin of victory, the Packers are 10th in the league at 6 points. Average margin of victory, obviously coming off the Colts. The Titans are sitting at 16th with just 0 because they haven't won a damn game yet. Turnover differential. The Packers are second in the league now at +4 in turnover differential. Now,
what? Say that again. We're what?
They're actually first in takeaways, but they're second in turnover differential, which is at a +4. The Titans are 10th at -4, which isn't horrible, but that's a big difference right there. Total penalties, though, the Packers have definitely been less disciplined. 10th in the league, still top 10, though. It's hard to be pissed off about that. 16 penalties, but the Titans are 7th in the league with only 13 penalties. The line currently right now, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, the Packers are catching 3 points, which simply means the Titans are 3-point favorites there at Nissan Stadium. The over-under is set at 38.5. To me, that seems a little low. It really does. And then the money, that's if all these numbers, in my opinion, is if Jordan plays, right? That's how I'm seeing this. Now, someone said earlier, I think it was Michael Lombardi said, you've seen the line start to move closer to 1.5. So Packers +1.5 when Jordan Love actually went, onto the practice field earlier in the week. I haven't seen that from the bookies I've looked at. Money line, Green Bay is +124. The Titans are -148. You guys have the floor on that before we scroll down and see some other matchup comparisons here.
I mean, personally, I look at that and the Packers plus I don't know. I never really quite get Vegas, and then all of a sudden I look like a fool every time the games end. But Tim, what do you think? I mean, one thing that made me kind of perk up a little bit there is number 2 in turnover differential. I mean that high score. What does that mean? Did we break it? Like, what does that mean?
No, I love it. This is again why I love Jeff Hafley. From day one, he preached this: playing the ball, being ball hawks, getting takeaways. And we're starting to see it now in the stat column going into week 3. So a lot to be excited about for us defensive football fans out there. It's been a while since we've really seen that ball hawking approach kind of to the defense. We talked about rallying to the ball carrier. We talked about the, group effort when it comes to tackling. There are guys on our defense that have had their issues with tackling, making clean open field tackles. And one way to shore that up instantly is to have 2 or 3 of your teammates right over your shoulder helping you out on these plays. And, we are living and dying as a team. Win or lose, we're doing it together. And, these guys got the right attitude on defense. They are going after the ball. They're playing aggressive. That's what aggressive defense is. It isn't a matter of zone or man or, scheme necessarily. It's your mindset and your approach. It's really reminiscent of we saw some of those Baltimore Ravens defenses that we talked about, where they would just take the ball away. Like it didn't matter if you were, only down a score and, you had 3 timeouts and plenty of time and you're marching down the field. They found a way to literally take the football away from you. And that can separate a lot of teams when it comes down to playoff time as who's really going to have the legs to advance in the postseason. It usually tends to be the teams that, they have the explosive offense, but they've got ball hawking defenses that are backing them up. So it's nice to see the Packers in that category right now.
Definitely. And, last year, that was what was missing. We were the 12th best scoring defense in the league, but man, turnovers. And
were we like 27th in turnovers or something?
Yeah, and I think we actually broke even on turnover differential because Jordan did such a good job in the second half protecting the football. But if you had been +5, you probably would have won a couple more games last year. You really would have. So that's what we're tracking this year, obviously, is to be a top 5 in takeaways. So team overview. Let's look at some of the matchup comparisons here from a team overview standpoint. Overall passing efficiency. This is the Packers offense versus the Titans defense, okay? Overall passing efficiency, Packers are number 5. The Titans are number 10. So Green Bay has a 1-star advantage, according to NFL Pro, okay, and Next Gen Stats. Overall rushing efficiency, the Packers are 9th. The Titans defense is 17th. So they're giving the Packers a 2-star advantage in that regard. Pressure rate, the Packers offense handles pressure 7th best, according to this, and the Titans defense are 24th best at getting pressure. Packers have a 4-star advantage there. You seeing the trend here? Why in the world are we 3-point underdogs? Because we're on the road. If this was in Green Bay, I bet Green Bay would be 3-point favorites. I believe that. So keep that in mind. Now, when we go over to the Titans side, so now we're talking Titans offense, okay, Green Bay Packers defense. Overall passing efficiency, the Titans are 29th. Green Bay's passing defense, from an efficiency standpoint, 18th. All right, 4-star advantage in the pass for the Packers. And Tim, anytime you want to let that video roll all the way through, I am not going to fight you. Overall rushing efficiency, the Titans are 13th on offense. The Packers rush defense 18th. That gives the Titans a 2-star advantage. And then pressure rate, the Titans offense handles pressure 32nd.
Woo.
Dead last. The Packers are 16th when applying pressure.
Pressure pick, coverage sack.
Took it down the sideline, turned over with my guys, gave the football to a little kid wearing 23.
It is. So that gives the Packers a 5-star advantage. So basically what you've got, Packers offensively, they've got a 1-star advantage in passing efficiency, 2-star in rushing efficiency, 4-star in pressure rate. On the Titans offense, Packers defensive side, the Packers have a 4-star advantage in passing efficiency, and the Titans have a 2-star rushing efficiency advantage, and pressure rate, the Packers have a 5-star advantage. So this is really priming up, guys, for the Packers pass rush to have that day we're looking for. Here's the only reason I say I'm hesitant. He can scramble. And we've seen that Jeff Hafley is not going to allow his ego to get in the way of playing complementary football. I don't think they pin their ears back and go crazy. I think we kind of approach it the same way we did with week 1, week 2. Let's make Will Levis sit in the pocket as it's collapsing and throw the ball straight to our defenders. That should be the game plan here.
Do you think that Can that game plan, sorry to interrupt you, but does that change if Jordan Love is the starter or if Malik Willis is the starter?
I don't think it does. You kind of look at both of those sides of the ball as it's different game plan. No matter who your starting quarterback is, you don't go in thinking, okay, this quarterback is starting for us, so this is how we're going to attack their offense. Defensive coordinators just don't see it like that. When I say from a complimentary standpoint and what he was talking about in Jeff Hafley at the presser, I think what he's talking about is I'm not worried about the numbers. I don't care about how many yards we gave up rushing. I don't care how many yards we gave up passing. What we're looking to do is save that bullet in the gun for crucial situations, and then we're going to fire our shot like they did to get that tackle for a loss on third down to push them out of field goal range, right? Things like that. I think that's what they're looking at. And they're going to show shell coverage at times too. They are. Because Will Levis goes out there. The reality is Will Levis is not a deep shot thrower. He's got a cannon for an arm, but he couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a mop throwing deep. Like he is not good at it, at least early on in his career.
We're going to give him some.
Wasn't great at Kentucky doing that either. He really wasn't. So anything you guys want to comment there on the efficiency? I thought that was great news for the Packers there.
No, I think you summed it up pretty well there, Clayton. I love it.
Yeah. Is there any chance that in the next few minutes we can kind of take down some of the chat here because we're building them up pretty good?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. Fire away. Let's do it.
Want to start now? All right, cool.
Yeah, let's go.
Mr. Greg Rice, awesome to see you as always. He says he's moving well. If he is too sore tomorrow, that is the only reason he will not play. Regarding Jordan Love there, and I think that it's a crazy good sign that it was 3 now straight practices, right? And 2 of them that were padded, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And then Jen Wright basically comes in and she's got a really good take here. She goes, give it a 50.1% chance he plays.
Heard it from a fan right here.
That's pretty good. Prince comes in. Ain't no break dancers like Australian break dancers. That's true.
You ain't seen my Uncle Bill on a Saturday night at Shakers back home.
Dave MX Garcia says, having torn my MCL, you ain't doing that jig for fun, bud. LOL, meaning I would assume that he thinks that Mr. Jordan Love is going to be ready to go. I kind of agree with that. It looks like he's really testing it, right? Like that seems fair to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Dave James says, I wish to apologize for the Aussie so-called breakdancer and the Aussie version of The Office. I'm telling you guys, it is
the Aussie version of The Office is way worse than the breakdancing.
It is, and that's so sad because they're both.
But I will say this though, Dave, don't you feel obligated to apologize? I'm not going to apologize for you guys not being able to understand History Channel swamp people talking, right? So you shouldn't apologize for the breakdancers in Australia. All right, sir. So you're good.
I don't know. I think he still should. Jason Yu says, I just got down with my 5th knee. Oh boy, my 5th knee surgery a little while ago. During rehab, jumping on that leg was the hardest thing, especially because the confidence issue. So a good sign to see where Jordan obviously is at right now. Thank you for that, Jason. That's a lot of injuries, bro. I'm sorry about that. And then Mr. Fred McFarley, talk is cheap. It takes money to buy whiskey. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
That was actually in my vows when me and Mandy got married.
Is that right? I can see that. Dave again says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. One of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite people of all time.
That's from Mike Tyson, right?
That's from Mike Tyson, man.
Spinal.
Lennox Lewis, I'm going to eat your children. That's an actual quote. So anyone.
You heard it
Prince
from a fan
in,
right here.
Prince comes in. says,
This is why we don't hit the chat, Jacob.
There's so many more worse quotes that I could say right now that are popping into my head, and I just can't. I love you, Mike. He's such a good person now. But back then, oh my. Prince Caps
How dare you?
says don't say neighbor's name 2 more times or else Jake Shavink will appear.
Like Beetlejuice.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's the quote of the night right there.
Put it on the ticker.
Right. Wolfpack. Eric Wilson has been incredible. I agree with that completely.
Yeesh.
The Shavink thing that just made that it's hilarious. Watch him pop up now. What?
Yep, exactly. He's going to go, showtime. Which, by the way, we went and watched the Beetlejuice.
Did you really?
Yeah, we loved it, man. It was good.
Actually, that makes sense. That's a fair where they actually brought this same guy back. I agree. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the only guy they didn't bring back was the father who got in trouble for some CP stuff. So I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but they handled that absolutely perfect how they handled his character. So for a bad human being, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, any other chats, Jacob?
No, I think we just got through them.
We're good to go. All right. This is one of my favorite features here. Tim, I think you're really going to dig this, man. This is one of the favorite features on NFL Pro and their next-gen stats approach to the deep dives. This is called Matchup Insights. All right, let's start with the first one over here to the left. And it says, the Packers called a design run on 73.1% of the plays Sunday against the Colts, the highest rate in a game since Week 10 of 2022. Yeah. The Packers have leaned on their run game to create big plays, totaling a league best. Let me say it again: a league best 13 design rushes of 10 or more yards. Additionally, the Packers ball carriers have averaged 4.3 yards after contact per carry on design rushes this season, the third highest rate in the NFL. This production on the ground has come with the arrival of Josh Jacobs, who has increased his rushing yards over expected per carry from minus 0.4 in 2023 to plus 1.3 this season, while the Titans defense has allowed plus 33 rushing yards over expected this season. They have allowed ball carriers to gain more rushing yards than expected on 41% of design rushes this season.
But nobody runs on the Tennessee Titans.
Exactly. See, you start to peel back the onion and you see, okay, maybe things are a little bit different under the surface. The sixth highest rate in the NFL on those, that 41% of the design rushes this season, allowing more yards than expected. Thought that was really cool. Just a neat little nugget there, right? And next one, Calvin Ridley. All right, Calvin Ridley, I think, is hands down the Titans' best receiver. I think they've still got Hopkins, but he's kind of a shell of himself. They've got Treylon Burks, although I love anyone who hunts hogs with a knife. The dude hasn't been a good football player at the NFL level. Listen, he was my draft crush. When I heard him talk and he was talking about hunting wild boar with a knife, like, that's my guy. I need him crack back blocking. You know what I'm saying? But he just hasn't panned out to this point. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a good football player. It is still early. But here's Calvin Ridley's right up here. Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley has gained 0 of his 127 receiving yards when being pressed so far this season.
Very interesting. So Josh not going to be on Calvin Ridley then.
Despite facing press coverage on 16% of his snaps, that's a pretty healthy chunk. He has only seen 2 targets on those routes and did not catch either of them. Dating back to the start of 2023, Calvin Ridley has averaged 5.7 yards per target when pressed versus 8.6 when not pressed. This week against the Packers, Ridley should have plenty of space as they play press coverage at only the 19th highest rate in the league at 18%. Okay, now I don't know where all those people are that said we were going to be playing press every snap. They
playing press man every snap, Clay.
What if we just put a press corner on him, on Ridley, and we play, everybody else how they play a little off.
And you notice
get up in his breadbasket a little bit, jam him off that snap.
Who would you do? Who would you actually start though? Would it be Ballantyne now?
As far as the best press corner, man, that's tough. I could comb through SIS, but it would take some time to work through the filters. I don't know who our best press corner would be. There's many people that would say Jair. I strongly disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with that. And you guys know I'm a Jair fan, and I would totally agree with that statement, Clayton.
It's just not his strength, right?
It's not his strength. I'd almost put swap Bullard and Williams and drop Javon Bullard up there, see if he can press up on him.
Oh boy! Here's something else.
I feel good about giving Evan Williams a shot in that secondary back there, and maybe we bring Bull up a little closer to the line.
And it's all going to come down to it's all going to come down to formations too. Like we talk as if every play you can create these matchups, but the reality is when the team goes to trips or a team goes to bunch, everything changes. Everything changes. Typically, the guy on the line of scrimmage is the only one that will get pressed out of the bunch. You got some switch concepts that come out of the bunch set. So you don't even know who you're covering, although you're lining up on them and playing quote-unquote man coverage. They switch after the snap depending on the route concept. So just something to kind of keep in mind there. It's really not as simple as just let's put that guy on him. I'll tell you someone else, though, that does come to mind. We seen it last year when we went back and watched the tape in the offseason when we signed Xavier McKinney. He ain't opposed to matching up on a receiver either. That might be the guy that you put in space.
And then you put Bullard and Williams back there together.
You could do it. You could do it. You never know, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that, like what Omar said, I mean, we looked back, like you just said, at who else was the best quote unquote cornerback that we had in most statistical categories? It was Ballantyne, right? That's what we figured out from our studies last year. So, I mean, I don't know if he's healthy and if he's good to go, man. I mean, he seems more of like that more consistent corner. So, anyways.
Man, stick Job back there at safety and bring X up.
Yo, I'm telling you, isn't that crazy that we have that option right now where we're thinking about that? Whereas we are.
I'm sure the coaching staff isn't having.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we're looking at it through a Madden spectrum. That's true.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Next key insight here, Zach Tom. All right, and this is what it says: Titans edge defender Harold Landry is coming off a solid Week 2 performance against the Jets, in which he finished with 4 pressures and 2 sacks on just 22 pass rushes. That's an 18.2% pressure rate. Landry is currently the heartbeat of the Titans pass rush, as he is the only player on the team with more than 2 pressures this season. I don't mean to laugh. Landry has lined up as a left edge on 82% of the snaps this season, meaning he will be squaring off against Packers right tackle Zach Tom for most of the night. Through 2 weeks, Tom is second among right tackles with at least 30 pass blocking snaps and pressure rate allowed at 3.6%. Additionally, Tom's 5.6% pressure rate allowed last season led all right tackles with a minimum of 250 pass blocks. When you talk about matchups every week, guys, that's a matchup that you go, hey, I like the way we're sitting there, boys. The way we're sitting.
That's where you go, here's a guy.
Oh, don't. I can't. Have you guys seen that new it's basically the new Frank Caliendo? He's like the Chris Collinsworth impressions guy. It's hard.
Yeah, he's good. I've seen him on Twitter.
It makes me so mad because he's good, but it's like, Patrick Mahomes, the way he threw that interception, it's amazing.
Exactly. All right. So there are your matchup insights according to NFL Pro and Next Gen Stats. That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. Appreciate you. All right, 42-46. Let's move it along here. Let's see if there's anything else on this page before we move along to some other stuff. So player projections, we won't get into all that. We definitely won't watch that preview. We'll get roasted for that. So that's all from that section right there. It's key advantages, I wonder. Okay, we kind of talked about looky here, boys. We got all kinds of information. Are you kidding me? Thank you, sir. Key advantages, all right. Rushing outside the tackles, okay. Packers offense, 3rd best in the league. Titans defense, 24th. What did Jeffrey Simmons specifically say in that interview?
They like to run to the outside.
There you go. So that's a key matchup for the Packers, right? Rushing versus the light box. If they don't have 8 in the box, the Packers are 1st in the league in it, as far as efficiency in that regard. The Titans defense with the light box, 14th best in the league. That would suggest with a 13 placeholder difference, probably going to want to put an extra guy in the box if we do lean on the run, right? So Packers have a 4-star.
That would give us an opportunity to do what you were talking about earlier. Maybe call some play action out of there to soften up that box.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Absolutely. If you get the run game going outside the tackles too, this scheme has been called for years. Now, if you understand the heritage of this scheme, it's the Kubiak system, which essentially it's the Shanahan system, which is the Kubiak system, which was the Mike Shanahan system, which was a hybrid of Alex Gibbs' wide zone blocking scheme and Bill Walsh's West Coast offense. So that's kind of the what it is. It's known as the wide zone boot scheme. meaning you run wide zone, and then you boot action hard out the back door off of that with a couple crossers, and even you can do what we call a wide dagger concept, meaning one side of the field is your go route, and the other side of the field is your crosser underneath, turning it into basically a dagger concept. It's just stretching the length of the field. Couple leaks underneath, could be a chip from a U leak out in the flat. You could also have a shallow cross from your Y if you're in 12 personnel, or a shallow cross from your slot with your number 1 on the opposite side, booting in that direction, running that deep climb, that deep crosser.
Yep.
So
that's why I felt like that would work, even if J Money doesn't play and we've got another game with Malik at the helm. Even play action boot off of that outside zone run and have him with some daylight, and he could even run. You can even run out of that boot action as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Let's talk about pressure rate. Packers offense, 7th in handling pressure rate. Titans defense are 24th. All right. And with dealing with pressure as far as how the outcome goes. Another 4-star advantage for the Packers. Rushing inside the tackles, the Packers are 22nd. The Titans are 6th. So if you want to know how you need to run the football here, you need to run off tackle. You need to go BC gap is what you need to do. Outside zone. This might be the game too, guys. Didn't think about this. Might be time to break out power GT and pull a guard in the tackle outside. Now, that's more of a gap-oriented approach. LaFleur loves to do that stuff. He has in the past anyway. That could be another way that you get out. Also, you haven't seen a whole lot of pin and pull this year. This could be the game we break out the pin and pull, right? So keep that in mind.
Do you think it's fair that when we went into the season, we all kind of criticized the interior offensive line, and now we're seeing? I mean, it's maybe not fair that it's 2 weeks in, so we got 2 weeks of data here, but right now the glaring weakness right here on this is what we thought it would be. Is that fair to still criticize
Absolutely.
Josh Myers and those guys there?
Absolutely, man. Sean Ryan, Josh Myers. That's the biggest issues there, right? We talked about it all offseason. So, yeah, I'm not here to roast anybody, but the facts are the facts.
No, you got to say what say something or see something, say something, right?
Exactly. All right, so rushing inside the tackles, obviously the Titans have a 4-star advantage there. Design runs, Packers are 4th. Titans defense 17th. So that gives Green Bay a 3-star advantage. So anything you guys want to hit on there before we move on to Titans offense against Packers defense?
Tim, what do you think about rushing versus the light box, bro? Did you ever think that you'd be seeing that? I don't know. That's crazy to me. I'm excited as all get out that's what we got. That we talked about it. Like there was very few things that would make me forget one of the best, in my opinion, just team home players ever of Aaron Jones, but Josh Jacobs somehow jumped into those shoes, and he's, in my opinion, he's making me a believer.
Oh yeah, I mean, Clayton, you and I talked about this a little bit during camp, that we felt that as tough as it was to see Aaron Jones go, that we felt really good about Josh Jacobs being able to do a lot of those things that are similar to what Aaron Jones's game brings to the table. I feel like Josh Jacobs is a little more durable, and I mean that with respect to Aaron Jones. So certainly, carrying the ball 30, 40 times a game on a regular basis is something I think Josh Jacobs is capable of doing. I don't know if we necessarily have to take that approach, but to answer your question, Jacob, against the light box, what that's telling the league when you see this is you're not dropping an extra guy or two into that box. We're going to run the ball on you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And the minute you bring that help into the box, we just went over what we're going to do when you do that. We let Tupac LaFleur go into that playbook and make you look real bad with play action. So
I was going to say, and real quick, just sorry to interrupt you, but like the fact that we do that with Malik Willis, like most of that Josh Jacobs eating was done with Malik Willis. So imagine when they have the option, like you just talked about, go ahead and load the box with Jordan Love. You want to try that? Okay, we'll see how that works for you. And I can't imagine having a better, like, well-versed offense than if you really want to stack the box on Jordan Love versus if you don't, then it looks like Josh Jacobs is ready to start running for 150 every game on you.
And QB1, I mean, if Jordan Love's in the game and he sees that, you know what I mean? If he sees a light box, he's going to check out. He may check out and go to a run. And if he sees guys dropping into the box, they're trying to load up. He may can out of a run and hit them with, like Clayton was talking about, some of this play action dagger concept. You've got guys running shallow crossers, things like that. And you get the guys in the box moving around and get them shuffling right where you want them, and you hit your man in space. I mean, Dontavian Wicks comes to mind, a guy that just finds those little holes in the defense and is just a completion magnet. So yeah. It is. It's all due to the fact that we are effective against the light box in the run game, and that's awesome, man.
No, definitely. Omer says, have you hit that like button? All caps. I did, Omer. Get off my back. I did it, buddy.
Yeah, right, so. There we go.
Appreciate that, man.
For you, Jacob.
Thank you.
So one couple things I want to hear here in the chat. Greg Rice says, on paper, it looks like we crush them. And we know, Greg, that means absolutely nothing, right? So I want everybody to make sure any given – there's a reason it's just a 3-point difference, guys, according to the books, right? If it was a true, man, the Packers should run away with this, you would see the Packers be closer to even or maybe even or maybe even given a point or two even on the road. So there's a reason that Vegas can give out those free drinks with the pretty little umbrellas, right? They know what the hell they're talking about. This is going to be a close game. And it's going to come down to what we always talk about: turnover differential, controlling the explosives, winning the middle late. It's protecting the football, win the ball, win the game. So nobody here is saying, man, we're going to kill them. But it is nice to see some of these analytics and go, okay, we've got a decent shot here, guys, especially if Tim plays. So, all right, Omer says, no, I'm sorry, Coach Lynn, I want to see ISO run game at Simmons. Coach, if you said,
I love Coach Lynn. I love it.
Coach, if you told me, Clayton, you get to pick. You can pick anything to go absolutely perfect in this game. After hearing Jeffrey Simmons, I'm with you, bub. I'm with you. But when everything else is suggesting, let's keep it outside, right? You got to – now, here's the other thing, too. And this is what makes the NFL so great. They've seen this information, not necessarily this specific here, but I guarantee you their scouting department has found, hey, look, we got to be really, really aware outside. We got to. You heard Jeffrey Simmons mention it specifically in that interview. So this isn't going to catch them off guard, right? So that could be the play too. Now it's going to come down to how they line up. Are they trying to cheat a half a gap outside, right? And it's hard to notice that on the TV copy. You really don't pick it up until long after the game's over. You start diving into the box cam footage from the all 22s. But that's something I guarantee you LaFleur's thinking about too, because that's what makes these games so great. They know what we do good. We know what they do good. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do that, right? So if they do, I say all that because Coach Lynn's saying I want to see an ISO game at Simmons. What if we come out and they're expecting us to run outside and they leave Simmons on an island in there and they're cheating a half a gap out? Hey, let's pound it right down at his freaking throat. Run a little 0-1 trap on him, right, Coach? A little 0-1 trap, put him on his ass. That's what I'd like to see. But
yeah, he not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
You got to take what you can get. That's the beautiful thing about LaFleur. I don't feel like he coaches with an ego at all. We seen that last week. I mean, he broke out 1932 football last week. It was awesome. So, all right, let's move over to the Titans offensive side. Okay, so this is Titans offense against Packers defense. Pressure rate. The Titans are ranked dead last in pressure rate. We got a 5-star advantage. We're 16th. All right, passing versus the blitz. They are dead last, 32nd. We are 19th on defense, 5-star advantage. Passing versus play action, they're 30th, okay? We're 7th against the play action with a 5-star advantage. Long passing, deep passing, what did I just get through saying earlier? He's got a cannon. He just sucks at throwing it deep, right? They're 30th in long passing. The Packers are 15th at controlling long passing, 4-star advantage Packers. Quarterback scrambles, they're 7th according to Next Gen Stats in the league. We're 27th against scrambling quarterbacks or quarterbacks when they scramble. So this is what I was saying about the pass rush. Let's wait one more week, guys, before we pin our ears back. Let's play this smart. Let's make him sit in the pocket and make him play the same way that we made Anthony Richardson play last week. Because I'm telling you, his throw chart, too, I don't know if I still got it here or not. I think I do. Look at his throw chart. It's so obvious that he is way more comfortable throwing the ball to the right side of the field. So how do you combat that? You shade your coverage. to that side of the field just a touch, and you get pressure in his face from the right side, and you force him to look left. This is Bill Belichick 101. Make them play left-handed. All of his interceptions have come, well, 2 of his 3 interceptions, I should say, have come from him getting flush left or pressure and him having to throw the ball to the left side of the field. That's where his accuracy issues truly are. So it's important to take that into consideration too. Make him play within the pocket. And when you do get after him, if you want to fire 5 and there was one of his 3 interceptions that was a 5-man rush, bring it from the right side. Put those hands in the throwing lanes on the right side and make him play left-handed. Does that make sense, guys?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yes. The other thing we talked about too is that Nicholas Petit-Fier, who's going to be their right tackle, he is statistically one of the worst tackles, specifically right tackles in the league right now, giving up, I believe, over 10 pressures already. And he's going against our own Mr. Rashan Gary. And I think that Hafley knows about that. I think that, like we've talked about, he's really clever in the way that he blitzes. It's not like he's rushing 5 or 6. He's really good at getting pressure with 4. If you call that a blitz, he's doing some TE stunts and all that kind of stuff. But I really do think that we're basically, I think we're playing a lesser version of Anthony Richardson this week. Like you talked about.
It does feel like that. That's a great way of saying it, Jacob. It really does, man.
And we just got to contain him. We got to contain him and not let him use his only attributes that he has, which is like his legs, his athleticism, his deep ball. He's not going to be accurate with it. So let's just make him pressured to all get out. And I think that we're going to be all right.
Yeah, I agree. Tim, you got anything else to add to that, bro?
No, I agree with Jacob. That's a great observation. Astute observation, Jacob.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
let's see. We've probably already seen these. Let's just look here. The highest rate. I think that one's new, right? I don't know if we hit that or not. Designed rushes. Yeah, we already hit on all these. Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything there. Let's see if anything changes as far as passing. Oh, look at this breakdown, gents.
Ooh.
You kidding me for a stat nerd like me?
Now here's some stats.
I'm like a redneck in the whiskey bottle. This is beautiful right here. Let me tell you. So passing. Let's talk intermediate passing. So this is Packers offense against Titans defense. Intermediate passing. So that mid-level. You got short, you got medium, you got long. This is that medium range. Packers offense so far this year, 27th. Okay. Titans defense, 13th. They've got a 3-star advantage. Pass. Now keep in mind too, Malik Willis played 1 game, albeit his stats were better on a per snap basis than Jordan Love in week 1. Now we gotta take that for what it's worth. I'm not saying there's a quarterback controversy. Calm down out there, okay? But passing versus pressure, Packers second best in the league. The Titans defense 8th when getting pressure on the quarterback. Okay, that gives a 3-star advantage to the Packers. Quick passing, Packers are 15th. Titans defense 25th. 2-star advantage for the Packers. Passing versus play action. So far this year, Packers offense 18th. Titans defense have handled play action passes pretty darn well. 8th ranked. That gives them a 2-star advantage. So, Tim, we got to back up. What did we just talk about with the boots, right?
Yep.
Seems like the Titans are pretty good. 2 games, though. They haven't seen our boot, have they? So,
right.
Could be a different ball game, but something to take into consideration there.
And they haven't seen Matt LaFleur calling them either.
Right.
A lot of times it's when you're calling that play, that's everything. So I have full confidence in our head coach.
So passing versus no play action. This is just straight drop back passing. Packers are 5th in the league. The Titans defense is 11th. So that's a 2-star advantage for the Packers. See, and some of these are pretty darn close. Passing versus no pressure. Packers 17th. The Titans, when not pressuring, 9th best in the league. So they may not fire too many blitzes there coming up on Sunday. That's a 2-star advantage for the Titans. Long passing. So now we're talking about probably distance of 20 yards or more, I would imagine. Okay. I think it's typically short is 0 to 10 yards. Medium is 10 to 20, and anything over 20 is considered long, if I remember correctly on the throw charts. Actually, might be able to see it right here. I think that's part of the design. It doesn't specify there. So it would be nice to know that info, but you get the idea. Long passing. Packers are 4th. Titans defense 3rd. So the Titans have a slight edge there. All right. Short passing. Packers are 10th. Titans defense 15th. very slight edge, just a 1-star advantage for the Packers. Deep passing, 3rd and 3rd. They got the Packers as the advantage. I guess the tie goes to the offense. Overall passing efficiency, Packers 5th, Titans defense 10th, Packers slight advantage. Passing versus no blitz, 6th for the Packers. The Titans defense 9th, slight advantage for the Packers. And then passing versus the blitz, Packers are 9th best. The Titans defense is 11th best. No true advantage there. So of those categories from the passing game, it looks like out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 categories, the Packers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 12. We have the advantage with one of those remaining being a push. So everything's leaning towards the Packers, man. I'm feeling pretty damn good about that +3 if you like to put a little action on the game. All right.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind there. All right. Anything you guys want to add to that as far as the Packers offense in the passing game versus the Titans defense?
I just think what you just said supports your previous comment about any given Sunday. In a lot of ways, it looks lopsided. It looks like, feel great on paper, but the game's played between the lines, and anything can happen out there. So it's important that we don't take this for granted. But I'm with you. I think if this game was at Lambeau, we'd probably be +3 favorites going into it. So I said this a few days ago, and I still believe it. I think it's going to be a close game, much like the Colts game was there towards the end there. And I don't care. I really don't care whether we boat race this team or we beat them by a Narveson field goal at the end or something. It doesn't matter. Put the dub in the column and go back home and get ready for Minnesota. That's the mantra.
Absolutely, man. So again, on the offensive side, it's obvious the Titans' strength is their defense. I think we would all agree. The analytics, according to Next Gen Stats, suggests we still have the advantage in the passing game as far as our offense versus their defense, but it is a pretty tight race there, right? Just by a couple of different categories.
Yep.
So let's move on to the Titans offense and the Packers defense. Passing versus the blitz, Packers have a 5-star advantage on defense over the Titans offense passing versus the blitz. Passing versus play action, the Packers are 7th best against that. Titans are 30th best on offense doing it. 5-star advantage Packers. Long passing, Titans 30th, Packers 15th. Packers have a 4-star advantage. Overall passing efficiency, Titans are 29th, Packers defense 18th, 4-star advantage Packers. Deep passing, Titans 27th, Packers defense 9th, 4-star advantage Packers. Short passing, Titans 31st, Packers defense 23rd, 3-star advantage. Passing versus no play action, Titans are 30th, Packers are 24th, 3-star advantage Packers. Passing versus pressure, Titans are 31st, Packers defense 25th. That's only a 2-star advantage. Passing versus no pressure, 19th best are the Titans. Packers defense is 11th best in that situation. 2-star advantage. Quick passing game, the Titans are 22nd, Packers defense is 17th, 1-star advantage. Passing versus no blitz and intermediate passing, both a push there. So that would suggest the Packers have a pretty damn good advantage on passing or against the Titans pass attack from Sunday. So anything there, Tim?
Yeah, more of the same, right? Looks great on paper. There's no advantage for the Titans here in any of these columns. But again, some of our advantages are greater than others. It seems like there's a lot of 1- and 2-star, which honestly that's negligible, right? You're talking about 19th or 11th, 22nd or 17th. It's very, very close. Flip a coin, and it's going to be who's ready to play come Sunday for sure.
Anonymous Human in the chat says Green Bay 16, Tennessee 13. I could totally see that playing out, especially if Jordan Love doesn't play. I think it would be that type of game. If Jordan plays and that knee is not hindering him hardly at all.
Then it's what Omer said.
Yeah, it could be closer to what Omer's saying here. I mean, seriously. And listen, here's the other thing, too, that I want to say. Even though the analytics are showing like, hey, the Packers probably have the better chance of winning this game, fluky things can happen. The reality is the Titans are 0-2. They're a wounded dog, Tim. In the NFL, these guys, that coaching staff, these players, Will Levis, the other players on the roster, they're playing for their football lives right now. Because if they go down 0-3, it's going to get real loud down there in Nashville.
That's so true. You know, that's not the team you want to face, right? The team that has nothing to lose because they've already lost so much. Like they back against the wall. They need a win to turn their season around right now, and they're at home. So there's a lot of I'm a big underdog fan all the time, and I know they got us technically as the underdog here, according to the odds makers. But I think in a lot of ways Tennessee probably identifies as the underdog in this matchup. They've had a couple of disasters the last 2 weeks, and they are looking for a get-right game. They're going to be at home. You know, I know Jacob talked about it might as well be a home game on the road for us down there in Nashville. Probably going to be a lot of Packer fans there, you and Emilio included, obviously. But I don't know. I really, I don't know. I feel like I'm not nervous, but I just feel like we can't be arrogant going into this game. We cannot take this team for granted, and we've got to take the same mindset that we took into the Indy game, which is to play for each other and play out there as a team, man. Nobody trying to do it all themselves, pick each other up, and whether we get QB1 back under center or we've got Malik Willis again, the attitude should be the same, which is like Christian Watson talked about a few days ago in his interview, the motivation to win a ball game. That's all you need. Get the dub.
It's something that Chris C. mentions here in the chat. He's a member of the PTA posse. Appreciate you, Chris. He says, and a special teams block. I thought I heard they've had 2 punts blocked already, but it might just be 1. But there's some opportunity there on special teams. That's something we hardly ever talk about, Tim. Special teams is 1/3 of the freaking game, right?
Yep.
I know I see the Narvison conversation going on in the chat. Absolutely, it's huge. Go down there and try to hit all those kicks. But the other thing too, man, blocking on punts, making sure you don't get gashed for the big ones on special teams, all that invisible yardage that adds up so quick. Got to win on special teams. Got to.
You heard Coach LaFleur talking about that in the locker room. He talked about we fence, the mentality that they have in that special teams unit. You know, they call it we fence, and that's because you've got, any and everyone contributing. You've got starters running out there on kickoffs and punts and things like that. You've got bottom of the depth chart guys fighting for reps that are out there playing special teams. And any one of those plays can be invaluable and tilt a ball game. Look at Daniel Whelan. Daniel Whelan secured that victory for us with 3 absolute bombs of punts. And it's like, oh, the punter or, the kicking game kind of gets a little bit of, swept under the rug a lot of times and underappreciated. But like Daniel Whelan kept tilting that field and made it very difficult for Indy to get back into that game last week. And that stuff is valuable. It really is.
Yeah. Mr. Maki Riggs in the chat say, Clayton, please read the Rashan Gary Inside if you haven't done so already. I don't think we hit it because it didn't pop up just a second ago. I'm going to come back to this screen. Don't let me forget, Tim. We're coming back to the rushing, okay? But I want to hit this like he asked for here. Let's go ahead and pop this up on the screen. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah. So this is what he's talking about, gang. Check this out. Right down here at the bottom. I don't know if I can zoom it in enough. It's going to throw everything out of whack. So this spot right here, okay, I'll try to read it. It's a little bit smaller font here. Titans right tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, I think is how you say it, Freer, set an NGS, Next Gen Stats, era record on Sunday after allowing 13 pressures on 35 pass blocking snaps against the Jets. It goes on to say his 37.1 pressure rate allowed, that's, try not to laugh, but man, that is horrible, is the highest single game rate since 2018 with a minimum of 20 pass block snaps, primarily matching up against Petit-Frere for the Packers will be defensive end Rashan Gary, who plays 91% of his snaps lined up as a left edge. So far on the season, Gary has generated 5 pressures on 47 pass rushes for a 10.6% pressure rate. Last season, Gary finished last season with the 9th best pressure rate in the league at 17.4% with a minimum of 250 pass rushes, and will be looking to regain his pace from 2023. Tim, I don't even like to talk about Rashan Gary because I get so damn pissed off because people were like, hey, he's overrated. It's like he's the best. he's arguably the best defensive player before McKinney got here on the Packers roster. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, man. Like,
That's right.
I'm so glad that Mikey brung this up. Thanks, Mikey. Appreciate you, Buck. Because I think we didn't scroll all the way down and see it. And I know I read this earlier. That's huge, man. It's absolutely huge. That's that pressure. Remember what we just talked about? Trying to make Levis throw to his left where he's uncomfortable.
Yep.
Get pressure from the right. This is lining up. Now, listen, they know old boy is struggling, so they're gonna put a chipper on there. They're gonna try to give a little bit of help on that side, whether it be a tight end or go sidecar right out of the gun and get a little chip on him. They'll try to get some help over there, no doubt. So just keep that in mind too. But yeah, appreciate you bringing that up, Mikey. You are the man, Bob. All right, let's get back to the rushing game that we were hitting on. There it is. All right, bang. So let's look at the matchup comparisons in the running game. All right, and let me widen this out a bit. I think it is. There we go. Okay, cool. Rushing outside the tackles. This is the Packers offense against the Titans defense. Outside the tackles, Packers are third. Titans defense 24th. 4-star advantage Packers. Rushing versus the light box, we are number one. We hit on some of these earlier, but there's more to these, so that's why we're going to run through them again. Light box, Packers running game first. Titans defense 14th. 4-star advantage Packers. Rushing inside the tackles, Packers are 22nd. Titans are 6th. That's a 4-star advantage for the Titans. So you're seeing probably need to lean on the outside zone runs and some of that GT power outside. Design runs 4th for the Packers, 17th for the Titans defense. That's a 3-star advantage for the Packers. Quarterback scrambles, the Titans defense is 12th best at stopping that. The Packers have not been a scrambling team. I know you've seen the Malik Willis scamper last week. I don't even know if that was considered a scramble, though. It probably wasn't, Tim, because that was a design quarterback draw. So keep that in mind, that the play that Malik Willis hit 19 miles an hour on, that wasn't technically a scramble, I don't think. I could be wrong there. Rushing versus a stacked box, Packers are 29th. Titans defense is 18th. That's a 3-star advantage for them. Rushing under center, 16th for the Packers, 27th for the Titans defense, 2-star advantage for the Packers. Overall rushing efficiency, 9th for the Packers, 17th for the Titans defense, 2-star advantage Packers. Rushing out of the shotgun sets, Packers are 5th. Titans defense is 7th at stopping it. That's just a slight 1-star advantage. And then rushing in the red zone, Packers are dead last in the league. But lucky for us, the Titans are dead last as far as run defense in the red zone. So no advantage there. So when you're talking about the running game from the Packers offense's perspective, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different categories. And the Packers lead in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those categories, with the 7th being a push, meaning only 3 are in the Titans' advantage there. So, anything to add there, Tim, before we move on?
Yeah, you see at the bottom there, the rushing in the red zone. That's kind of a thing that I think is part of it's just a byproduct of the LaFleur system. We like to attack in the red zone with the pass game. We queue up our tight ends. We queue up Romeo Dobbs. We do a little, RPO kind of thing, or we play actions, things like that. Quick slant, stuff like that near the goal line. So by default, we're going to have less attempts rushing the ball. Obviously, Josh Jacobs coughing that one up at the goal line last week probably doesn't help the cause running the ball down there. But I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of running in the red zone, especially when you're in that, whatever they call that. You're the heck with being inside the 20. You're inside the the 10 or the 5. You're breathing down that end zone line. I like running the ball. Now, most teams also do, and I think that's why LaFleur likes to use that deception down there. A lot of times we'll pass out of run sets in the red zone. So we'll, pre-snap, it looks like we're going to run. And then the next thing you know, you've got, Tuck Norris, running butt naked through the trailer park, and it's a touchdown. So that's something to watch. The other thing, from our perspective, just flipping it to the defensive side here, rushing inside the tackles, it's going to be a not a work cut out for him situation, but something the guys in the middle there, Kenny and TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, our big guys up front, man, we've got to be aware of what's going on inside there, so we're not giving up too many chunk runs.
Definitely. And it kind of to me, it suggests you should load the box a bit, right? Like
Yep.
that's what I'm leaning towards here. Make Will Levis beat you, right? Now, it doesn't mean you go out there and play zero coverage. That's not what I'm talking about. But go up there, single high look, get that spur safety in the box. And who knows, maybe we break out the 3 safety sets this week. I don't know. I know they definitely practiced it in training camp. But throw that spur safety in the box and get that hat count in your favor and force them out of that run and make Will Levis beat you. You can still play cover 3. You can still play over-the-top technique out of a cover 1 man. You can go cover 1 drop out of that. You're just simply – you're tightening up those run fill gaps underneath when you load the box a little bit. Now, I'm not saying you put 10 guys in the box, 9 guys in the box. It's just real simple.
Right.
Bring that spur safety up 5 to 7 yards off the line of scrimmage where he can meet that run fit and take some of the pressure off those big guys up front where they can truly play a gap. And in some cases, if you got that extra body in there, play a half a gap in some strategic spots, which it's, I don't think we're going to have time right now. We'll do it in the morning on tomorrow's show. But you talk about how Tony Pollard likes to run a football, or at least where they've had success early through 2 games, is running the ball to the left. So what you want to do is try to steal a half a gap or close up an extra half gap on the left side and leave yourself a little bit more vulnerable on the right side. And that allows you to kind of pin your ears back on the right side and get pressure in Levis's face on that same side too. So you make him play left-handed like we talked about. Let's talk about the Titans offense in the running game, okay? Quarterback scrambling, they have a 4-star advantage over the Packers defense, okay? 7th best in quarterback scrambles. Packers defense is 27th best. Rushing outside of the tackles, the Titans are 10th best. Packers defense 25th best. That's a 3-star advantage for the Titans. Overall rushing efficiency, 13th to 18th, 2-star advantage for the Titans. Rushing in the red zone, Titans are 18th, Packers 26th, 1-star advantage for the Titans. Rushing inside the tackles, 18 to 12. Packers actually have the slight advantage there inside the tackles. Rushing shotgun out of the gun, 23rd to 28th with a 1-star advantage for the Titans. Rushing under center, 13th to 7th. Packers have a slight advantage there, 1-star. Rushing versus the light box, the Titans are 24th, Packers are 27th, slight advantage to the Titans. Rushing versus the stack box, the Titans are 6th best at running against that stack box, so keep that in mind. But the Packers defense is 10th best when they load the box, so it's just a 1-star advantage for the Titans. Design runs, kind of a push there at 15th and 16th, respectively. So according to Next Gen Stats, the Titans have the definite advantage in the running game against the Packers defense. So that's where the emphasis needs to be this week. Focus on stopping their run and make Will Levis beat you. That's really what it comes down to. So,
and have a plan for if you're gonna selectively apply some pressure to Will Levis and hope that he makes that errant throw or that bad decision with the football. You also have to have a game plan for if he breaks out of that pocket and takes off running, because we see it up here, 7th in QB scrambles, and that can get an offense going. Even if your completions are down and you're not doing so hot as a rookie quarterback, you break off a 25, 30-yard scramble, that's going to fire up your offense, get the boys running downhill. So we've got to account for him in and out of the pocket, I think, because the slightest little spark to an 0-2 football team at home against the Green Bay Packers, that's going to be advantageous for them, and they're going to take full advantage of it. So we got to limit those mini explosives from the quarterback for sure.
Absolutely, man. Explosives, it's the key to teams winning ball games, man. There's no 2 ways about it. You got to control the explosives, reduce and tighten up the red zone defense, all that stuff. Keep the other team off the scoreboard. So here are the early notes for me, okay? And what I'm going to start doing every week is just based off of what I'm seeing on film, what we're noticing in analytics here. I'm going to put together a little mini game plan. This isn't anything specific talking about, hey, you should run these route combinations, you should run this run scheme. It's just a very vague approach to, okay, here's how we're seeing the game based off the information that we have, right? On offense, they are a legit top 10 running defense, okay? So don't get caught pounding your head against the freaking wall. We also learned run outside, right? So keep that in mind. They have the number 2 pass defense as far as yards per pass attempt, okay? So they got a top 10 rush defense in yards per attempt given up. They've got a number 2 defense in yards allowed per pass attempt. 24th in takeaways, Okay. So they're 24th in takeaways. They're not very good at taking the ball away. That's that. And the Packers are really good at that. So that kind of leans in the Packers' favor there. So you want to be aware of that. Hey, don't be afraid to be aggressive. We opened up talking about Jaden Reed. This might be the game to do that, Tim. Might be, especially if J Lo's back. Let's start hammering the middle, man. Let's run some double climbs. Let's run some slot cross. Let's run some drive concepts. Let's get some play action and attack the middle of the field. Open up the passing game. The weather's going to be good enough for it, right? It is.
Let the bird fly.
Yep. And I would max doubles on Simmons in the run game. If you're going to run, like Coach Lynn was saying, if you're going to run a little ISO in the middle, I would try to make sure that you could scheme it up, whether it's a pre-snap adjustment and setting the run scheme, the run blocking scheme. Let's try to get 2 bodies on Jeffrey Simmons. Let's try to go double on him and run off of that when you do run inside. Although, like we said, the game plan truly does suggest let's bounce the ball outside. Tuesday players. This is what Bill Belichick has coined as like, here are the players that you really need to focus on their, side of the ball, each facet of the game. I feel like their Tuesday players are Jeffrey Simmons, Ernest Jones, who's a stack backer, and then, of course, Harold Landry, who is a really good pass rusher. You got Tom on Landry. You don't have to give help there. So you kind of got that taken care of unless they decide to move him around. That can be a little tricky if they kick him inside to like a 3-tech. I don't know if they have any history of that, but if they do, that could give Sean Ryan fits. So just keep that in mind. Those are my 3 Tuesday players on the Titans defense. And now our defensive game plan. They love to throw right, and they're pretty effective at throwing right, okay? But it's typically 20 yards or less. What does that mean? Don't be afraid to break out Mabel on the right side. And for those of you who don't know, when we talk Mabel coverages, even you can do this in zone match too, but it's typically, it's more predominant in spot drop. But with the Mabel, it's designed to attack trips and bunch sets. You're essentially putting 3 defenders on that right sideline. It's a flat to hook. It's a hook to deep out. And then you've got your deep shot protection on that side too. So you're taking away 3 levels on one side of the field. That's called Mabel. Spread your Mabel on that right side and bring the heat off right side. Force him to go left. Now, if you do decide to go left and you show shell coverage, the way you might want to approach that is, you're going to be flooding him left, then maybe you play it balanced and show a shell coverage. And by the pressure pushing him out left, you can kind of key in on making him play left-handed like we talked about. They run the ball to the left best, okay? And I was going to show this. We'll show it tomorrow. Just remind me, Tim, this is just the last game you see here. This is Tony Pollard's run chart, 17 carries for 62 yards. When they ran to the left, they're pretty balanced. They ran to the right 9 times, to the left 8 times, and it's pretty spread out between inside and out. They have 4 attempts outside left for 24 yards, 6 yards a pop. Inside left, 4 attempts for 24 yards. So you got to key in on that too. They're really effective at running the ball to the left. Keep that in mind. When you're rushing, bring a 4 to 5 man rush. Don't get crazy with a 6-man blitz. There's no reason to. If you can get pressure with Gary off the end, or they've got to slide that protection to help Gary, that's going to give Kenny Clark, Devontae White, Preston Smith, anyone else with LV on that other side opportunities to get to the quarterback. So don't get caught seeing ghosts in that regard. Don't try to do too much with the blitz. Levis will throw picks. Give him the opportunity. Give him the opportunity. They're Tuesday players on offense, in my opinion. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley, halfback Tony Pollard. They got a tight end that I can't even pronounce his name, but he's got the second highest passer rating when targeted. Okawanku, I think it may be how you say it. I can't even. His first name is Chigozia. Good luck with that, Tim. There's nobody in Harlan County, Kentucky with a name spelled like that. We got your Ernest Smiths over there in the holler. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we see it. We're going to dive into it even deeper tomorrow morning and get back in here and do some PFF stuff too. But, Tim, I'm tired of talking. Anything you want to add here before we wrap up?
Yeah, I saw one I had started earlier from Ron Sandville in the chat. We're talking about Calvin Ridley being that big body, physical receiver, probably their best weapon on offense. Best way to stop Ridley is to pressure the quarterback. I agree. Amen. I agree. I would add the caveat that I just brought up before but have a game plan if he wiggles out of there, and finds a seam or something, because, we don't have to go too far back in Packer memory to, have nightmares about quarterbacks running roughshod through our defense on a simple scramble, especially when you see guys that the pressure is getting there and it's almost there too fast, too much, guys over pursue, and then the quarterback steps up and out and he's gone. And, Mr. DeVito comes to mind, that Giants game. That was atrocious. We got lit up by Baker Mayfield on the ground and in the air in that Tampa game. So, I mean, you got to have a game plan, but I agree. I think a heavy dose of pressure in that game plan is going to benefit us, but I just don't think we can, constantly sell out. Like you said, we can't just pin our ears back all day. We've got to play some disciplined football.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the best way to stop Ridley is pressuring the quarterback, amen. And when you talk about some of the insights of playing press man on Ridley is the way to beat him, that's one of the reasons why it's not – I don't think it's necessarily that Calvin Ridley isn't a good enough receiver to beat press man. I think it's the quarterback going, oh, he's pressed, where else can I go, rather than give him time to work through that. And maybe he doesn't have time, seeing that the right tackle couldn't block himself out of a paper bag, right? So there you go. All right, Tim, I appreciate your time, man. I know Jacob had to run. We'll be back tomorrow morning for PTA. I think I'm going to sleep in a little bit, so it'll probably be like 9 a.m. Central maybe rather than 8 a.m. Central. I got to get caught up on some rest, man. So
Do that.
I'm going to knock that out. And then the plan should be to go like late afternoon, maybe or early afternoon, do another show. And then I got to hit the road to Nashville. And the plan is right now, Tim and Jacob will go live if everything goes as planned. No pressure, Tim. They'll go live for the post-game show. And as soon as me and Emilio can get back to the hotel, we might wait like 30 or 40 minutes before we go live for the post-game show. So we can get back to the hotel, get set up, and actually join y'all for the post-game show. That's the plan. So
Perfect.
Yeah. Probably won't be a pre-game show unless Jacob wants to fly solo on one, and we might be able to call in. But, nonetheless, we'll be tweeting and sending you guys pics and all that good stuff. So,
awesome.
Tim, appreciate your time, man. Help me out here, dude. Can you do that?
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.